So the other day I was meeting with some Calvary people here at the church, and there was a group from another church that was coming, including their pastor. When their pastor and that other group showed up, she was wearing her clergy collar. And one of the Calvary members that I was sitting with said to me, said, like, Angie, do you even have a collar? And I said, yeah, I'm a pastor. Of course I have a collar. And they were like shocked, like this meeting. They were like, oh, no, no way you possibly have a collar. And I was like, I do. I am a pastor. I have a collar. I just never really seem to wear it. When I was in seminary, one of the things I got kind of dinged on in my approval interview was the category of pastoral authority. Now, here's the thing. I do understand that I do fully understand that my role as pastor comes with some level of natural authority. I understand that sometimes when I say something in a group, people stop talking and they listen to the things that I have to say. I do understand that. But I think the deeper truth, and the reason I don't really wear a collar, is that every single one of us has agency when it comes to God. Not any more or any less than the next person. You see, God has given a child the same agency as God has given to me, even through all of my 16, 17 years of seminary. God's given you the same agency as God has given everyone else. I don't think God's actually interested in authority. I think God is interested in authenticity, in us showing up exactly how we are. And if I take that a little step further, I actually think that showing up as authentic is probably one of the hardest things that we ever get to do in this world. Showing up just exactly as we are in any situation, now that's really, really hard. Now, there's a story in the Bible that kind of illustrates this so beautiful. It goes like this. A woman who was in the town that Jesus was visiting lived a sinful life and learned that Jesus was eating at this Pharisee named Simon's house. So she came there with an alabaster jar of perfume. This woman stood at Jesus' feet weeping, and then she began to wet his feet with her tears, and she wiped his feet up with her hair. Can you imagine? She kissed his feet, and she poured perfume on them. And the Pharisee Simon, who had invited Jesus to dinner, said to himself, if this man were a prophet, then he would know who was touching him, what kind of woman that she is a sinner. So just imagine this scenario. This scandalous woman breaks into the house of this holy, holy man, and she starts crying, but not out of shame like you and I would think. She starts crying out of gratitude. As her tears fall on Jesus, she bends over and she uses her tears to wash his dirty, dirty feet. She uses her hair to dry him, and then she takes this expensive bottle of perfume that no doubt she was saving for something, and she begins to anoint Jesus. She begins to do this ridiculous, intense, authentic act of love towards Jesus. You see, Jesus had given her the grace that she needed in order for her to be fully authentic and fully seen. And she is repaying that through this anointment. And the whole time, this Pharisee sitting on the other side of the table saying like, whoa, 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 Jesus, what on earth is going on here? If you knew what kind of woman she was, Jesus, you wouldn't let her touch you sort of at all. Can you imagine if someone said that about you? If someone said, you know what kind of person this is, you know the things that they have done. If you really knew, then you would stay away. But maybe we say that to ourselves sometimes too. Like if you really knew what kind of person I was on the inside, then maybe you would just sort of stay away. I think we judge ourselves even more harshly than other people judge us. But here's the truth. Just like that woman, Jesus looks beyond all of that. Jesus sees us authentically, just exactly how we are. But Jesus does that with everybody else too, making it seem like the whole field is level. Jesus turns to Simon the Pharisee while the woman's still weeping at his feet and looks at Simon, and then he says something surprising. And I imagine that he says it like with such deep, authentic care. Jesus looks at Simon and says, Simon, do you see this woman? Do you see her? Like really, really, really see her? You see, and Simon just doesn't. I mean, she's right there in front of his eyes. She's at Jesus' feet, all the things. But all he sees are her mistakes. You see, Simon doesn't see her fears or her anxieties. Doesn't see her poverty or her situation or maybe how she's been victimized in the past. See, what Jesus does is he teaches Simon to see says, Simon, like, you and this woman, you're the same. You're both in need of community. You're both in need of kindness. You're both in need of compassion. You're both in need of mercy. You're both in need of grace. But really, when it comes down to it, you're both in need of the love of a Savior. You see, Jesus is more interested in our authentic selves. Jesus is interested in your authentic self, just you. The real you, not the polished you, not the accomplished you, not the impressive you, just you. Whether you're more like Simon or the sinful woman, the truth is the ground is level at the foot of the cross, which is why we get to be authentic over anything else.